we're all sporting today. So I, just as a continuation from last week, you know, I know Chris Spade just could not stop ogling over my beautiful tutorial for my eyebrows. So I did something different. I wanted to try, you know, kind of an updo. So, you know, thank you everybody for sporting some great looks with me today. Let's kick things off the right way. Let's get some bucket fills going. So let's do some shout outs. Make sure to unmute yourselves because everybody's starting out muted. So let's get some bucket fills going. What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for?
Steven. Oh, God.
What are you grateful for, Carmen? Whose bucket would you like to fill?
I am grateful for just everybody at Keller Williams for keeping it together and getting me inspired to put a wig on and have some fun with you guys. I really love it.
Love it, love it.
Thank
Well, you're
you.
looking stylish, and I see Pegasus. Dang. You're looking lovely. Ooh, look at Melinda just sporting in her hammock. I love it, you guys. This is awesome. This is awesome. All right, so let's do some shout outs. Come on, guys. What are you grateful for? Whose bucket would you like to fill? This is where you unmute yourself.
All right. I'm here.
Go
Stephen,
for
I'm
it.
going to say grateful for you because this week you knew when to lean in and knew when to lean out. So that's an important skill. And so, yeah, I'm here in the hammock.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting it go when it needs to be let go.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, let's get one more little bucket fill. Pegasus, I see you waving. Ooh, Pegasus, you're muted. How well do you know sign language? Oh, we love you, Pegasus. We might have to pass because I'm not sure what's happening with your audio. We love you, though. Let's get one more bucket fill. Sonia, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for Keller Williams being so awesome and you guys letting me crash your office meeting today.
Well, welcome. This is going to be fun. So as a quick little introduction, right? This is something that we do for the hearing impaired community whenever we did live Zoom calls and any kind of video conferencing. So this is the universal way for applause. So that's something that we'll do while we're all muted. So yeah, kudos to Keller Williams. Thank you, Sonia, for joining us. All right, let's keep things rolling on here. As a heads up, we got some, we still have the trainings coming up, so pay attention. The scripts practice every Tuesday through Thursday from 8:30 until 9:30, and Fridays with Coach K at 10. Facebook Live KW Tech Boot Camp every Monday at 2 p.m. with Clarissa. This is a great time to brush up on the technology that we have. Command trainings as well every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 with Nancy, Clarissa, and Broker Bob. We have daily broker Q&As with Broker Bob and Mark Miller every day at 4 p.m. Daily dose of inspiration. Now this is something that I just want to take a quick little pause on. Ashley's coordinated some amazing speakers. Just lined up for different reasons. These are people that are either different culture icons. They like Cheryl Sidoti, which was today. There are people that have helped build this company to what it is. Mark Willis, he's the longest standing CEO that was appointed by Gary Keller. It's just amazing people that she's been able to put together to add value to you. So whether you need a little bit of inspiration, whether you need a little pep talk, or maybe some strategies as to what to do in today's times, so I definitely want to not only tell people that that's still going on every day at 11 a.m., but also to fill Ashley's bucket. So I'd like to just take a brief moment for all of us to give a nice round of applause to Ashley for coordinating that and really taking the reins as far as showing what true leadership looks like. So everybody, let's give a nice dose of gratitude to Ashley for putting that together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ashley. Awesome. All right. Let's see. Broker Bob, give us some updates. What's going on with car forms and all that jazz?
Thank you, Stephen. I'm going to take the screen for a little bit. How is everybody today?
Chilling.
Chilling. What's that? Anyway, okay, guys. Quick update, 3 things. I want to remind people of the new car form documents that are out. The CVA, the NUCC, the PEAD, and the RL, oops, that's supposed to be RLA-CAA. I'm still getting calls from some people that have listings that haven't amended their existing listing agreements. So if you have a listing right now that you don't have the RLA-CAA, please get that listing amended by adding that to your existing listing if you don't have it on the market yet, if it is on the market, or even if it is in pending status. And by all means, updated rules on the PEAD, that is the Property Entry Advisory and Declaration. That's item number 3 on the list. If you have a listing and you are having anybody go in and out of that listing, whether it's active, pending, contingent, nobody goes into that property without signing a PEAD, meaning any buyer or seller or inspector or appraiser. And you have to issue a one-time code on your lockbox for them to even get into the property. Very, very important those 2 forms get signed. Now the CVA and the NUCC, I won't go through those today, but Mark and I do meet every day at 4 o'clock to help you guys answer those questions that you're all asking. Another update with the pandemic unemployment. If you have not read the latest post on that, they're about 2 weeks away from being able to issue you guys to be allowed to apply for the pandemic unemployment relief. And they are working with the labor secretary of both the state of California and on the national scale as well to set up the system to do that. And it should be retroactive to when they rendered our state as stay at home. More information to that. I monitor that pretty much every hour of the day with CAR. And then I have to make an executive decision on one of our referral partners right now. We have an existing stay. Do not be referring them do not be discussing with them as being a preferred partner, because with Hawthorne and Albatross Associates, these are our preferred partner flip vendors that we have in our preferred partner program. Unfortunately, they are having some issues, and I'm concerned about a negligent referral that they're in our program. So more of that will come out. I'm dealing with our attorney on that to make sure that we got our booties covered. And that is it for that, Stephen. And I believe I'm still next with shout outs, correct?
Yeah, you are.
Awesome. So if I can get the slide on that, Evie, or if you're gonna require this old guy to remember from memory. But a big shout out to Greg Erickson, who graduated the launch program with his 3 deals and went into, he's still out there working. He's gonna make 2020 his best year, according to his coach, Alicia. He's in the growth program, so I wanna spotlight that. And right now, ever more than ever, any agent that wants to get into the growth coaching program, let us know. You're going to need coaching now more than ever. And this is what Gary Keller said on a call yesterday. This is the time not to get out of coaching. It's the time to get into it. Congratulations to Greg. And then Parker Halberg, who just got his license first week on the phone, and he's making calls in Corey's coaching program. And he actually is setting listing appointments. So congratulations, shout out to him, and congratulations to all the coaches that are doing fantastic work on keeping our agents enlightened and informed and on some sense of track and accountability to help them during this period. Back to you, Stephen.
Well, I'm just going to keep on passing the ball here because you're talking about keeping us up to date and up to speed on everything. So I'm going to pass it over to Movement Mortgage. Amanda, Wes, Ed, catch us up to speed. What's going on?
Hey guys, it's great to see everybody. Everything is going great with respect to the mortgage industry, or we're keeping an eye on servicing. The main thing that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention is a class that we put together that we're going to be hosting on the 22nd, Wednesday at 9:45 a.m. I posted it on the Metro Inner Office Facebook page. You can sign up. My coach, Jeff Zimfer, is going to be delivering content on COVID and your next 90 days. A strategic game plan that will give you guys some great insight and some nuggets you can take away and implement in your business today to get success. So like Steven, like you were saying, like it's always a great time to always be learning. You know, in this class you'll learn what do people seek in chaos, and why this is your opportunity, how to show up in a crisis, and your next 90 days with some ideas for social postings that could help generate some business. So I look forward to seeing you all there on the 22nd. It's at 9:45, strategically timed so that you can attend Scripps and Ashley's call at 11. So I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you. All right, next up, what's our escrow update, Bob Fields?
Hey, Esteban, how you doing?
Howdy. Just another glamorous day.
I thought that was a wig. That's your real hair, isn't it?
Oh, this is all me, boo-boo.
Wow.
This is all me.
That's
all
impressive. That is impressive. So hello, everybody. I am filling in for Justin, who is just around the corner. We're actually in Suite 101 this afternoon, cranking out checks and taking care of business. And people have been amazingly supportive of us throughout all of this. Even though you can't see us, we're here and we're working. Well, a lot of times from remotely, but actually today, because we're cutting checks, so we've got brokerage fees going out and everybody needs to get paid. The only thing that I had really wanted to bring up, because we're getting lots of requests for net sheets, particularly from some of our newer agents, which is really exciting to see. Remember the items that we need in order to, because a lot of times we don't get a phone call. We just end up getting an email, can you do this net sheet? And the items that we really need to do these net sheets accurately: owner's name, obviously the address, price, what's the brokerage fee, expected COE date, close of escrow date, which title company do you want? Home warranty, is there going to be a home warranty? How much of a home warranty? Will there be termite? Maybe you know what the termite costs are going to be. Is there an HOA? That's a big one. Sometimes we're asked to do these things and then only find out after the fact that there's an HOA. And do you have any idea what the existing mortgage payoff is? So the more detail you can give, the more accurate net sheet you can offer your clients. And we think it's a far more detailed and beneficial version of a net sheet than using an app on a website. So we're happy to do those for you anytime we can. And one last thing I wanted to say is, as last week, I ended up applying for the payroll protection program through our bank, which is City National. And I signed loan docs today, and we're expecting that loan to be funded by Friday. So it does happen. People are getting that money, and if you're eligible for it, by all means, you should be applying for it. That's it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for that update. So yes, make sure more details, more accurate net sheet. Thank you for also doing that as well. So let's open this up. Business is still moving. So those that I've had the pleasure of chatting with, the general consensus, at least from those that I've spoken with, is that things are starting, now we're starting to accept things as the new norm, right? And fortunately, things are able to move forward. So let's get some conversation around the listings that you have coming up. Who has some off-market properties that we can start pitching to our database of buyers?
Not everybody at once.
I know.
All right. I'll go.
Why
All right, go for it, Mike. Loving the shades.
Yeah. I posted this up in the Facebook group a couple of days ago. It's off market. It's going to stay off market triplex in North Park on Swift. All three all 3 units are occupied. It generates about 8.2 to 8.5 gross cap rate return. He's asking for 700,000, and yeah, just let me know when you want to see it if you have anyone interested in something like that. And I also have the other Savita property that's going to stay off market for a couple of weeks too. It's looking like 2-3 weeks. 730,000, 3-bed, 3.5 bath, 1,400 square foot, complete like turnkey, beautiful home.
Love it. Great job, man. So 2 of those properties, one Savita, one triplex. Great job. Kathy Jackson, see that you've got one too. Tell us about it.
Can you hear me all right? Okay. So I've got one that's an off-market property. It's going to, and I'll have some pictures by next week, but it's in Escondido. It's going to be it's a house, a good sized house with an avocado farm with it in a really pretty area, kind of near the Welks Resort area, not too far. So I'm thinking that's going to be in the above the 1.5 range, in the 1.5. So just if you have anybody who could run a business from their avocado farm, wants a really pretty property with over 10 acres,
Very
let me know. Yeah.
And what's the price on that again?
It's going to be above 1.5. I'm meeting with him next week to go over more detail, and I'll take some pictures. So
Love it. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Great job. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Sonia, you have one as well?
Yes, it's a small 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo off Mission Gorge Road for $250. So yeah, like the lowest price ever.
Yeah.
It's getting painted right now. It's going to come on the market this weekend. HOA is $270. VA, FHA approved. So this should go fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, so this is, these are huge, huge properties. I mean, a triplex under 800, 1 bedroom, 1 bath under 300. Holy moly. Savita, 700. Oof. Kathy, we got some farms. We got some stuff going here. All right. Nicole, you got one coming up too. Tell us about it.
It's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, almost 1,700 square foot townhome in Mission Hills. It's 2 levels, smart home connected, so you can turn everything on by talking to the place. And we were aiming to put it on the market next week, but it looks like it's going to be the following week because they still have to clean it out a bit. But it's a really, really cute place. The unit actually faces Washington. So you have a view. A lot of the other units don't really have much of a view. So, and we're going to list it for $860.
Wow, nice, nice, very nice. All right, cool. Make sure, guys, that y'all are taking notes, because otherwise this just falls upon deaf ears. Your database doesn't know about these coming soons if you're not writing them down, y'all. All right, let's see.
Can we be sure those get up on the map we've got?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yep.
I
Pegasus.
was very nervous. We went to clothing optional meetings. Wow.
What? Oh. I was just like, oh, I didn't get the memo because, all right. Let's see. Oh, Amy, you have one.
Yes. Okay. So Gary and I just listed a townhome style condo this morning. It's in the Kearney Villa area. It's on Ruffin Road, a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. And this guy bought it about 2 years ago when it was a flip. Beautiful interior, really well done, quality upgrades in the kitchen and the bathrooms, the flooring. And we're putting it on the market today. Their list price is going to be $375,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1.5. Really great condition. And it's a nice complex, sunburst complex. It's got pools and pathways and little park play areas and very dog friendly as well.
Awesome. Cool. Pegasus.
Hear me? Can you hear me, Stephen?
It's very, very, very faint, darling.
Can't hear me good?
Mm-mm.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. So if you want to type that in the chat box as far as the details, just like the bedroom, bath, location, and then the price point, we can distribute that information. So sorry, Pegasus. Russ, you got one. Talk to us about it.
Hey, everybody. So paperwork should be coming back today for this place in Rancho Santa Fe, just outside of it. It's a 1.19 acre property that's essentially a tear down. for 1.2 million that will be coming active 2 weeks from today. So let me know if you've got developers that are interested. It's a little functional obsolescence at the place, so it's probably best used to just tear down.
Love it. Love
Can
it.
you hear me better, Stephen?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Now we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, good. Is it okay if I do a coming soon pitch?
Yes, please.
Thank you. This is something that I have posted on our Facebook page. It's 4481 Bancroft Street. List price is $550, which is like unheard of. Underneath 600,000 in normal heights is really hard to find. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's adorable. Get the pictures. I'll post them again online. We should be going live in a few days. So if you can find anybody who wants an off-market property right now, I'd love to go to escrow with you. Thanks.
Yes, great job, great job. So, and just so we're putting this all together, for those that have not been able to attend scripts practice, again, the conversations that you're essentially having, think of it from this perspective. People are fearful right now. So whenever you're setting appointments, whenever you're reaching out to your database or new leads and just talking to them, what if you were to take this type of approach about taking away all the pain associated with it? What if you were to contact the sellers, your past seller leads, and just saying, hey, look, why don't you send me some pictures? Why don't you send me the price point that you would consider, some of the specs? And hey, I'll blast it out to my office and database. You get people to raise their hands? Great, something for you to consider. If not, great, you're off market anyway. No harm, no foul. Same thing for the buyers, right? Is that with your buyers, look, just send me your criteria. Tell me about the neighborhoods that you're looking at and your price point. I'll take a look around, tell you what your options are. So these are the type of things that we're talking about. So if you want to be able to speak intelligently about what we're forecasting into the market, how that affects buyers and sellers differently, and the timing of things, again, not to self-promote the scripts practice here, but this is what you want to do with this coming soon information. So yes, Melinda, we will make sure to update the spreadsheet on that. And I still see some people that are engaging in the chat box. If you have any questions about those coming soons, please let us know.
Stephen, Broker Bob here. I want to make a quick announcement on the coming soon.
Yes.
It was supposed to be enacted May 1st. We have no firm commitment on that yet. So coming soons can be marketed and advertised as normal until further notice. Because the boards have not been able to solidify the authorization to exclude yet, because that's been pushed back. And then another note, the new RPA will not be released until December 2020 if you guys have not seen that announcement. So we're going to continue with the old RPA, the current version of the RPA until then.
Love it. Thank you, BrokerBot. Thank you. So limited time only to promote your coming soons. Do it now. Act fast while supplies last. All right. So let's pass it over to the real star of today's show, Ashley Lunn, with our stats. Take it away, Ashley.
Hey, guys. How's everybody? Give me a wave.
Excellent.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best to share the screen on PowerPoint. It can look different for you.
Echo.
Somebody has to mute. All right, do you see my screen? Yeah, okay. So what the absolute, some of you know I've been attempting to look at the stats every single day and kind of keep up with what's going on moment by moment. I figured out towards the end of last week that wasn't good for my mindset because day by day it vacillates so much. It doesn't really give you any good data. So the very last slide of today, I've broken down by the week since March 20th. I think that's going to be the day that is pivotal going forward in terms of measuring what the market is doing compared to what it's done in the past, because that's when we all were encouraged to go into lockdown. And you certainly see a change in what's happened in our market since then. But some of you may have seen in the chat box something I said about Mr. Stephen Jack. That's Leo Sayer. If anybody is old enough to remember Leo Sayer, it's exactly what Stephen reminds me of today. Go back. He has some good music from the 70s. All right, I want everybody to unmute because we're going to do this together. This is really important right now.
It's pretty small.
I can't see what you see, unfortunately.
Oh, I can see your neighbor holding their cat all the way across.
I think it's Friday.
Like right through that window, she was like,
Tell us about the cat, Chris.
All right. If you can't read it, hopefully you remember it. What is the KWRI mission? To build
careers worth
having,
is worth owning,
worth
living,
it's worth living,
This is
worth
worth
giving, legacies worth leaving.
Maybe we can add pandemics worth living through. All right, we're just going to jump in. I'm going to skip the Y4C2Ts for today and only make one.
Mute everybody again now.
The way they have in such a powerful way, and I've seen them react a lot over the years. I'm so impressed with everything that they're sending out to us in terms of education and support to get through this. And I think we're in a moment of time when we're absolutely, as a company, exemplifying the Y4C2Ts. So couldn't be more happy to be where we're at. All right, let's look at the listed numbers real quick. Most of these slides are, I didn't want to go too far away from what I've done for the last 8 years. So these are the same slides that you guys have all seen. And I want to go fast because really the market of the moment is what we need to be talking about. The big thing here is that our absorption so far through 2020 is outpacing 2019 and 2018. And you're going to see very soon that we had an actually really good January and February. And what happened in March is we really slowed down the second half of the month with new listings coming to market. So our absorption looks really, really high at 63% through the first quarter. We're going to see an even more aggressive absorption rate over the next 30, 60, and 90 days. And you'll see why in a minute. 3-year trends by sold price. The real big takeaway on this is that that entry-level market has taken such a whooping in terms of we just haven't had the inventory to sell. That's not going to change. It's going to get way tighter. And we are seeing in this last month, and even in the second half of March, some of the luxury properties over $1 million, $1.5 million move. And I personally think that's because people of means knew or know that we're probably going to go into a slower period. So I think they, in general, said, just move my property for anything that was currently listed. New listings coming to market have slowed immensely. Okay, so look at that real quickly. And the dates up here are not correct. This is 2018, 2019, and 2020. 2020 is in the red. And in every price point starting at 500,000, we're selling or have sold quite a few more units. We started the year out well, and then of course COVID has hit. And as usual, if I find typos as I'm going through this, I'll correct them before Evie sends it out to you. So new listings, again, this is the 3-month snapshot. So this data is up through the end of March. And what you're going to see in this first quarter review is we're pretty on pace if we look at an average with the last 2 years. And we are right at the cusp of that changing dramatically. Our absorption rates have been very, very, very solid. So this is the absorption, meaning the number of new listings that came to market in the first quarter versus the number of closed sold properties. And the absorptions are really high. This is 2020, this is last year. So I'll go back and forth between the two. We're at about 28% more absorption this year than last year for the first quarter. All right. Again, I'm going fast only so that we can actually have an open discussion about the current state of the market. What I do want you to see here with the new listings in March, and I chose to put in the actual number every March for the last 10 years. It was the slowest new listing March that we've seen. And it wasn't that way until March 20th. We were outpacing all the other Marches until the 20th. And then obviously it slowed down tremendously. Active listings, same thing. We were actually looking at having a great inventory until March 20th when it slowed. So that number, if you can't read it, is right now active listings in single family is 2,982, and in attached it's 1,677. Pendings, lowest, meaning, so pendings, things that went into escrow in March, lowest that we've seen for the last 10 years, which is pretty incredible because 2011 wasn't strong. And yet we're about 40% off even that number. Solds, what's interesting if you just look at this and not the other slides is that they're up. The number was really good. And a lot of us as brokerage owners and agents have kind of felt like, well, this isn't too bad because our income was still good in March. We're gonna see those yellow and blue lines go into a really deep hole next month. Median sales price was up. No surprise, it's been inching up and probably will continue to because of the inventory crunch that we are in, which is going to get worse. Average sales price was way up, 908. What that indicated was there were a couple very large sales, single family homes in the $10+ million category that boosted that way up. Our active market time is down to 10 days for condos and 9 days for houses. And I think some of that was probably because there was such urgency created at the onset of this. If somebody wanted to sell or knew they needed to sell right away or knew they needed to buy right away, I think they acted very quickly in the latter part of the month. Our months of supply is has popped up a tad on the condo side and remained very flat on the single family side. So 1.6 months for single family and 1.8 months for condos. List price compared to sales price was up for the month of March pretty significantly. It's at 99% for both condos and homes. So let's look at this. Somebody tell me, can you see those numbers clearly or is it too small on your screens?
I can see them clearly.
Thank you, Francis.
Clear.
All right, so I would love anybody's input on this because I've been doing the stats the way I've been doing them, again, for about 8 years. And I'm having a little difficulty wrapping my head around how to bring this to you visually. And if anybody's amazing with Excel and graphs and charts, let's talk and you can help me make this more digestible for people. But for me, just looking at the raw numbers is pretty revealing. So again, I started at March 20th and I'm going to take a week at a time because in order to see any real trends that you have to look at least a week of data. And I chose to go March 20th, which was the day, it was a Friday this year, in which we all were told to stay home. So every week I'm going to compile these same numbers. And I added one data point to this that I think is important. So if we look at this, the top set of data is 2020 and the bottom is 2019. And it's the same time frame. Let's see, I've got chats. All right. Thank you, Mike Law. I will call you later. So in that first week, March 20th through 27th, 587 new houses came to market and 213 condos. That was pretty substantially off compared to last year for houses, but not too horrible on condos. What is heart-stopping from a future income standpoint is the amount of pended in that week. So last year it was 609 houses pended in that third week of March, and this year it was only 373. So when we're forecasting out, either as brokers or as agents, that's telling us next month, so the month of May, income-wise, is going to be way off last May. And in San Diego's market, if we take it as a whole, the majority of our volume is sold May, June, and July. And that's not going to be the case this year. The other thing that is a little heart-stopping is as we go through the weeks. So if you drop down to April 4th through April 10th, which was just this last week, the number of new listings that have been coming to the market, 363 single family, 183 condos versus 954 and 302 last year. So the longer we've gone into the stay at home, the leading indicators are taking a big hit. So we're down to, in this last week, 1/3 of our typical new listing inventory coming to market. When you couple that with the fact that there are still a tremendous amount of motivated buyers out there, look at our absorption rates. And again, it's just a week, so doesn't tell you the full story. But since March 20th, we've averaged somewhere between 90 and 95% absorption. That essentially means that absolutely everything that we're bringing to the market is selling. And that is scary for, again, 60, 90 days from now, unless we see the listings come up. For those of you that are representing buyers, it is not going to get less competitive. It's going to get more competitive, which is nuts. And yet that's what's happening because the supply has been so constricted. Now, again, the sold numbers, they look good still because what is closing now originated prior to COVID. However, those pending numbers are telling us that, again, May, June, and July are probably going to be very much off, up to 2/3 off what we're used to. And if we don't fix the listings coming to market, I would say June, July, and August are going to be even tighter than that. So the data point that I added here, and it just helped me kind of get my head around what can we actually expect from an income standpoint 60, 90, 120 days from now. And that's the pending absorption rate. So typically when I do the absorption rate, I'll take what has closed in the month versus what has come new to market. That's a good data point. That's where it says absorption rate. However, I think it's also powerful to look at, for this period of time, what has actually gone into escrow, not closed, but gone into escrow, because that's more of a right now activity versus what's been listed. And our pending absorption rate is not as good as last year. So it's interesting that, yes, we still have a whole lot of demand, but in that first 3 weeks of COVID, it slowed down pretty tremendously. And that's probably because we all had fear of how do we do this. And I would expect that as we go into April, and from what I'm hearing in every interview I see, we're likely going to be in our homes through May. I think we're kind of adjusting to this. I think buyers and sellers are adjusting to this. So while we will see much lower numbers in terms of new listings coming to market and pendings, I think it will kind of stabilize, because right now, if I were to graph it, it would look like it went off a cliff. And I think it did, and then we'll just kind of stabilize. The new normal will be, it's going to be incredibly competitive on the buy side. And we're only going to have sellers that absolutely have to sell. So let me open it up to questions. Separate charts by detached and attached. All right. Thank you, Sonia. All right. Questions, comments, concerns? It's like you have all lost your voices when we're on Zoom. I don't understand.
I have a comment, Ashley.
Hey, Susan.
Hello. So that news would seem to be positive for sellers in terms of the ones that have to buy, but I'm having a personal experience where we went into escrow at the beginning of this and we just fell out Friday, and it's been back on the market for 3 days and I have not gotten one phone call on it, which is freaking me out. It is over $1 million. So that probably explains the why, but I just wanted, when you say that, I get a little hopeful but what I'm experiencing is not feeling that way at all. I just would love your comments.
Yeah. So, like any market, where are they going to feel? Where are we going to feel the impact of this the most? It's going to be in anything over $1 million. And the other complication that just came up in the last week, which is not great for luxury sellers, is the shortage of jumbo options. So in a lot of cases, anything over our conforming loan limits, you're going to have to figure out maybe offering seller carrybacks or some other alternative financing, because there just isn't that option anymore. And that's just recent. That's just within the last, 9 days, Wes? And that might be what you're feeling compounded on just the weirdness of this whole
situation. Which is why it fell out. Yeah, that's definitely what, yeah.
Yeah, so I would say let's all, and I'll look, I'm gonna make a note, I'll look for somebody to come on and do, how do we appropriately do seller carrybacks? Because we haven't had to do that for a long time. And in some cases, it may be the only option a luxury seller has. At least in the short term till the liquidity returns to the markets.
Okay.
I wish I had better news for you than that, but I mean, part of this, when I have good moments around this, I'm like, oh, it's so exciting. We get to all learn something new. And yeah, I try to stay in that mental space a lot. It's very interesting times.
Thank you.
Can I have somebody address lease options? Absolutely. We'll find that too. We did a lot of these back in the 08 and 09. Honestly, I wouldn't know what it's like a language. I have to go back and study. We'll bring you some experts. Okay, other questions, comments? Well, and Susan, let me go back to everybody should be getting out the shift book. Of course, I would think you've probably heard Keller Williams just banging this message home. Not the entire book isn't necessarily relevant because this is a different kind of shift. However, pricing ahead of the market is a relevant thing right now. I was on a call where Gary talked on Tuesday, and he was asked, where do you think prices are going? And he said down. Now, that's nationwide. I do think we have some insulation again because of the lack of inventory here. However, in our upper price points, they're going to have to go down. They just are. So one thing you may have to get used to is making calls maybe every Thursday to your sellers and giving them a market of the moment update, especially if we're over that $1 million. I would even say $900,000 range. Okay, well, we got another listing coming. I am excited to see that we have so many listings coming. The first 7 days of April, as an office, we brought to market 2 listings, and I have a lot more gray hair watching that first week of April. And from the 7th to today, the 15th, I believe we're at 15 listings. So keep them coming. We'll sell them. Yeah, Michael, I know. So Michael Barrow says, working with buyers in the $600,000 to $700,000 range, there's multiples on everything. Yeah, because if you're really a motivated buyer, you're out there and there's so little to be looking at. It's a very interesting thing. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's a private one.
Ashley.
Yep.
Hey, for people for the luxury, I'll send you over the link. Leslie and somebody from Chicago, they're going to have on Facebook, State of the Luxury Market. It would be really good for anybody who's selling at that. I'll get you guys the link. If anyone would be interested, just let me know.
Okay. There's a question on here from Dahlia. What do you expect will happen to prices in San Diego? I think they're going to, it's going to sound strange, but constrict. We're going to have fewer luxury properties available, because if people do have a cushion, they're not going to sell until markets and just the overall uncertainties settle a little bit. So if anybody has room to hold on to their property, I think they're going to stay. And that would be a lot of our luxury sellers, right? the prices on the lower end are going to come up. So the things that are 300, 400,000, those prices, because of what Michael Barrow just said, those are going to come up. And yet the ones that are 7 to 9, they'll go up a little, but they can only go up so far because we don't have conforming loans. So if you think we've got very little supply, whole lot of demand, but I think what we have to keep an eye on is, can people either put down payments or have some other kind of financing? Because if the financing option is gone, that's going to take that demand out of the market. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, Dahlia, but overall, our average, I don't think is going to go down. However, that's likely going to be because we won't have much movement at all in the luxury price point, and there's going to be pressure on the prices in the middle. So I think the average will stay pretty consistent.
I think that, you know, we're going to see this constriction with the jumbo products right now, but just as what unfolded in 2008, you know, as soon as we start to see the dust settling and get a better handle on things, you know, investors will be more apt to lend. And so we're going to see that. It's a very fluid situation. You know, we're just seeing investors pull back because of all the potential losses from the forbearances that people are putting in. That's the biggest thing that we're keeping an eye on right now. Millions of people applying for forbearance. Forbearance is not free. Everyone needs to, you know, make sure their clients understand that they'll have a break, but they owe the money 100% after those months of forbearance pass. And, you know, that's what they're waiting to see on the back end is, you know, how is that going to play out with all these people that took a break and then they have 100% of the bill come due. So they're just, you know, they're hedging their risk and they're pulling back a little bit. But I see it returning to a new normal as soon as we get to the backside of that and the dust settling.
Yeah, I think it'll be that V that, you know, we can have a U recovery or a V recovery. I do think we'll have a V. We just don't know when that can even start. Mike Law commented, jumbo's still out there. You just got to go to the big banks, which is true. And just be very, very aware. Even with the big banks, it could be shut off tomorrow. And our past history with the big banks is not great. In 2008, 9, 10, 11, they would say they could fund and then they wouldn't. A lot of deals with the big banks never came to fruition, or they were pushed out so long the foreclosure went through. So just be careful. You've got to make sure you really vet who you're going with.
And we deal with all of the big banks, Amendment Mortgage, the Bank of America's, Chase's, Wells Fargo's, on and on and on and on. So, you know, they just temporarily pause their correspondent channels. I still have one of them is available at 4.5 right now for a prime borrower with 20% down. So, you know, we just see some constriction there. We'll keep you updated on how that plays out and the changes that we see on our end. They're a mile a minute on our side.
Yeah, that's the fun part, right? I think that's one of the reasons why we're so exhausted, because things are changing constantly and we got to keep up with it.
Hey, Ashley.
Yeah, Vinny.
I would say even more so in this market right now, if you're putting an offer in under like 700, is putting that cover letter, having your lender call the person, give the other side peace of mind. Because, I mean, everyone I talk to, it's like, oh, this deal fell out because of this one, coronavirus. And it's so easy to get out of the deal because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
That if you can give them peace of mind, you'll probably get your offer accepted.
Well, on that too, maybe more earnest money, bigger down payments, you know, offer to let it go hard as soon as whatever. Got to get creative. Peggy's asking, whoop. Love that you guys are chatting questions, but they move too quickly. All right.
Well, there was some questions in there about what is a jumbo loan. You know, the government changes these sizes every year. The Federal Housing Finance Agency releases what our conforming loan amount, high balance loan amount, and jumbo brackets will be, and it's currently at 700, 500 is our jumbo limit in Diego County. It changes county to county. It always, and use secondary finance. And that's the one thing that is different about this correction than last time so far, is that we haven't seen all the HELOC investors pull back. So we still have those options to provide a first and a second and structure it that way to keep the loan amount under the jumbo, 701 500, and just add a home equity line of credit as a band-aid until we get to the other side.
Wes, maybe the other thing I would think, hard money might become really popular too.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a Rolodex full of people that have funds available, and they always have, and they always will. So trust deed investing is definitely a segment of our industry, and I have contacts and resources available for the people who need to explore that option.
Awesome. So Peggy asked, does it make sense now to locate a property even earlier than before if you've got a seller who's also buying? I would think so, because there's so few properties. So contingencies are on the list side are going to be important, because they got to have a place to go. Active duty VA is more reliable than any other loan at the moment. I would say that's probably accurate. Thank you, Jay.
Well, any of the government-backed financing, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, that's never going to go anywhere ever. So, that will be solid. They'll just continue to kind of tighten things up, but that will always be available. There's no way that would be beyond tectonic shift.
Yeah, they'd ruin our economy. They know they would ruin the economy if they did that. All right, another question here from Judy. I'm getting so many calls about foreclosed properties, not seeing them yet. Well, there's kind of moratorium right now. So, and I think the banks definitely want to stay away from making any big movements until, like Wes said, they figure out what is the forbearance landscape going to look like. I would think we're at least 120 days from seeing anything change in the foreclosure market. And yet, some of them are going to come. I think probably more short. We have a good opportunity, I believe, for people having to sell short. And what I mean short, I don't mean they won't have the equity. They're just going to need to get out of their properties because they can't cash flow and make their mortgage payments. So hopefully we can help more of those people before they get the foreclosure notices. But again, I think we have 120 days or so before we'll even start seeing movement there. And that's dependent on whether or not the banks get in line and keep people in their homes so we don't flood the market and crash the values again.
Yeah, with the forbearances, I mean, that's a good 3-6+ months, before we even start to see that default activity.
And if you have any bank contacts, why not reach out now? Start getting those relationships back in. And Debbie, I'll call you on this one because the text isn't really translating so much. But essentially, it's an overall question about what about downtown? Downtown was already suffering, unfortunately. There was already really a lot of pressure on sellers because there was an overabundance of inventory in that particular market. It also tends to be a second home market or a more luxury market. It's going to get beat up bad, I believe, through this. So if you've got a seller, they better be extremely motivated, and likely, I would say through 2020, they're going to take a bath. And if I were owning property downtown that I'd be comfortable liquidating at a significant loss to get out of it now, because I don't see that turning around anytime soon. Now, I'm not I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just telling you, if it were mine, I would take a loss on it and get out as quickly as I could. Okay, thank you, Mike Law. Downtown is way worse right now, seeing insane prices sell for 20% below list. Yep. So if you do have somebody down there that wants out, they're going to lose money, right? If they can't hold for the next probably 18 months, they're going to lose money. It's just how much. And again, that particular micro market was already not in a good spot. And that's why it's going to be more painful there. Other markets, if we were to go, and I wish there was an easy way to do it, there's just not. But if you could look at Lemon Grove, Encanto, La Mesa, those places are going to probably see a substantial increase in value just because of where their price points are. And that's where, if people need to buy, they're going to go. And again, any of our local areas that are under 700, the prices are going to go up, strictly due to a lack of inventory. All right, I'm having trouble with the text box. So if you do have a question that you actually want to discuss on here, just unmute yourself and let's do it. We got 5 minutes.
So I'm Ashley, this is Joe.
Fair?
Joe Fair.
All right.
Hopefully you have my number saved.
I do now.
So I'm looking at the numbers here and it's looking like inventory has fallen by what, 20% a week over the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, and that's because the new isn't coming.
Yeah.
Our absorption, our actual properties that are going independent and that have sold hasn't changed that much, but it has significantly. You can see it on the new listings to market. Was there, oh.
No, I was just looking at that. I mean, that's
look at April 4th this year through April 10th. New listings, 363 on the housing side or on the house side.
Yeah.
Compared to 954 last year. And when you lose 2/3 of your new listings coming, what do you have to sell?
Well, that may keep prices from falling.
Yes, under under 9,
I mean,
8.
Yeah, under 9.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. That's why I'm saying that almost everything under, I would say everything under 8 is going to push up unless you're downtown. And everything over 8 is going to come this way. So we're having a weird compaction of pricing in the county. I don't see any other way for that to work out.
So then what happens when these 3 weeks worth of sellers 2 to 3 months from now decide it's okay to come out of their house and they all hit the market in August?
Well, that's what I would be telling my sellers right now. It's a supremely good time to sell right now because of the lack of competition among sellers. I do think we're going to see that, but whether it's August, September, October, whenever it will happen that we have pent-up demand hitting, meaning sellers that need to actually sell because they waited an extra 6 months, and buyers. So the demand, I think, from the buying population is going to absorb the listings. I still don't think we're going to see a downturn because we're so inventory short. And you all know we already were. Now it's just comical.
Well, that means we could have our spring buyers and sellers be pushed basically until the 3rd and 4th quarter, which would mean our 4th quarter could be massive for everybody.
And I'm crossing my fingers for that. In 2009 and 10, for those of you who are in the business, government did something called the first time home buyers tax credit. And they gave people $10,000 to go buy, essentially. And what that did was it borrowed buyers who weren't quite ready. They would have been ready in 2011 or 12, but we borrowed those buyers from that future time and they were able to buy in 2009 and 10, and it stimulated the economy. It was actually really good for us. Now we've got all these people on the sidelines, so we're kind of saving them up. We borrowed buyers from the future then, now we're saving them up, and likely it will hit in the 3rd and 4th quarter. So if I were in active production, I would be making the care calls and staying in deep connection with my database, but I'd also be shoring up the systemization of my business so I could handle the volume that's going to hit when people do come out of hibernation. Same thing for lenders. When this all, I mean, you guys are, I know you're busy or were busy with refis, and when that faucet turned on full bore, the mortgage industry couldn't handle it. I could see that happening with real estate too.
Too much, too fast, too soon. And we're still projecting that we'll have an extended period of low interest rates ahead. So it's just a matter of getting on the backside of all these monkey wrenches that have been thrown through the system.
All right. Yeah, Kathy, I did too. Kathy Jackson said she bought in that time frame and got that huge credit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ashley, I know you guys had my understanding is Gary had a call today. Is there anything you could share that's not confidential that was interesting?
I haven't heard of one today. I was on one with him on Tuesday. No, nothing new and interesting. Honestly, I would tell you, and there just really wasn't. He's saying, cut your expenses. Everything that you've already heard him say, if you watched him and Jay the first, Monday that they did that, cut your expenses, keep them low. He did say that he is looking at liquidating a lot of his real estate portfolio right now. So now remember, he's in Texas and a lot of his holdings are there. And a lot are in commercial real estate. He thinks that, especially in commercial real estate, today's $1 will be worth $4 in 6 to 8 months. Meaning if you had a commercial property that's worth $3 million now, it's going to go way down in price, and he can then go gobble up other stuff, which makes sense because in the commercial real estate market, nobody's going to work. And obviously, I'm sure you all are feeling it. Nobody's wanting to pay rent on places they can't go to work. And it puts a lot of pressure on commercial property values. So that was really the only thing he said from a if you can standpoint. Hold on to your liquid money and start thinking about what kind of properties you would invest in 6 to 8 months from now. All right. Last, I'm going to plug. I'm next week. We have three things. First, write this down. Thursday, the 23rd at 1 p.m. Mitch Swartz. Some of you know him. He's a bold coach. He's going to do a class for us at 1 o'clock on successful virtual listing presentations. As a bold coach, he still has his team in Vegas, and he's been doing virtual listing presentations for the last several years. So he's perfected it, and he said he would bring it to us. I know a lot of you are already kind of fumbling through it and trying to figure out the best ways. He'll do that on Thursday at 1. On Tuesday at 11, I get to interview Mo, and highly, highly encourage you all. That will be a very special 1 hour we get with her. And even more important for me personally, on Wednesday at 11, I got Diana Kokoska. So anybody that could really help us mentally through this right now, of anybody, she's, in my opinion, the best one. So hopefully.
What day did you say Mo was?
I'm sorry. Mo is on Tuesday.
A week from today. Yes, Tuesday, yes. And then the other,
week from yesterday.
And then the other one, and then next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
At 1 o'clock, we got it. Got my dates. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, y'all. If you need any of us, just reach out. We are here. And I will, every Sunday is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to pull the weekly numbers on Sunday and get them out to everybody. Cool?
Woo. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll be posting these stats a little bit later. Make it a powerful day. Thank you all.
Thank you.